Hey guys, so I'm gonna be sharing with you kind of what happened to me a couple weeks ago and how I got a concussion and how I've kind of been dealing with it these last few weeks. So it was about 2 weeks ago. I was going tubing in Soldier Hollow, which is it's an old Olympic tubing area in believe it's south of here. And so I went with my ward, and you get these single tubes, and it's a fun time. You get to like walk up this escalator thing to get to the top of the hill, and you slide down. And everything was pretty safe. We didn't have anyone getting hurt. It was a good time. And part of the layout of the Soldier Hollow is at the end of the track. They had this giant inflatable barrier. I like to think of it as an airbag. But it wasn't really like soft per se. It was kind of like you could press down a little bit, but it wasn't really firm. It was really firm, and so it was kind of hard. And you weren't supposed to hit that because you're supposed to brake when you get past the cone. There's probably about 300 feet between that and the airbag. So you're supposed to brake. You're never supposed to hit that. So we were all doing fine, no problems at all. And then a group of about 10 guys, we were like, all right, we want to go like super fast. So we made a chain of tubes, single file. We all got on our stomachs, and we linked each other's feet over the shoulders of the people behind us. So we were kind of like this long chain of guys on our stomachs. And so we go off, and we're going so fast. We honestly were flying. Like, I can't believe how fast we were going. But so we were flying down, and I was second in line. And the guy in front of me, we get to the cone, and he's able to peel off from me and kind of go off and brake by himself. And I'm I'm in the front. And I try to peel off, but I'm like locked in. The guy behind me, I couldn't detach from him. We all were still in a line. And so I started yelling out like, brake, brake, or like, the barrier's coming up. But they didn't hear me. And like we couldn't detach, and it was too late. So we were flying, and I plowed headfirst right into the barrier. And I saw it coming up, and so I was pretty sure that it was going to be a pretty bad collision. So I didn't want to run head on because I was fearful my neck would get like hurt or like broken or something. So like kind of the last second I twisted, so I kind of led with like the top left part of my head, and I hit the barrier with such a force that I flipped upside down. So like I was like upside down, and then everyone else came and slammed into me, and I just like got whacked several times. And after I was just laying there, and I was super, super dazed. Like, I couldn't tell like what just happened. I was like kind of woozy. I sat up, and everyone was asking, Mason, are you okay? They thought I had died, I guess. It looked pretty bad though. So they asked how I was okay. I'm like, oh, I'm doing all right. I don't feel too great, but I think I'm okay. And so I get up, and I immediately have a headache, like a piercing, just like in my temple area. And I'm like, oh, this stinks. Like, it kind of hurts, but I'll keep going. So not my smartest decision, to be honest, but I kept tubing, kept having a good time. And so afterwards, like I kept going. I felt kind of bad, but it was okay. Didn't feel like awful. So then we get on the buses to go back, and I just immediately start going down. Like, it was interesting to me that I didn't feel as bad as I did like when it first happened, but I just progressively got worse. So on the bus, I just started to feel woozy and out of it. When we got back to the dorms, I was talking with my friends in the lobby, and I was just laying there, and I was super like tired, and I just like was so out of it. And my friends were talking with me, and they later told me that they thought I was like on wisdom teeth drugs or something like that because I was just so out of it. And they wouldn't let me lay down, and they wouldn't let me go to sleep because one of the dangers after you get a concussion is having a brain bleed or an aneurysm, and those can lead to various complications that are really bad. So that night I stayed up until 3 in the morning. So there was about like 7 to 8 hours in between my concussion and when I went to bed. And I was feeling awful. And I woke, and before I went to bed, I went to the doctor. I went to the hospital because that was the only thing that was open. And I went in there, and we got up to these security guards, and we told them, hey, my friend got a concussion, and we kind of want to go see a doctor to get checked out. And the guards were like, yeah, we're kind of closed right now, which was interesting because you don't think a hospital would be closed after 24 hours, but I guess they were. So we left, and I went to bed, and I woke up, and I was no blood that I could see, so we were doing good. But I immediately went to the hospital, I had called my parents and let them know what had happened, and they suggested I call this number, and it was like a registered nurse through our insurance agency, and we were able to call them, and the nurse suggested that I go to the hospital, to the ER, to get my head checked because of what the symptoms I had. I was, one of my pupils, my left pupil was dilating different from my right pupil, and it was kind of off, which is a sign of like a concussion, possibly an aneurysm. I was very out of it. I was super like woozy, like felt like I was walking in a dream all day. I also felt I just had like a constant headache that felt like it was all around my head, like there was no way to get it off. I also felt a little bit nauseous, not as nauseous as I thought I'd felt, but I felt a little nauseous. I've had 2 other concussions prior to this one, so I'm kind of well versed in concussions, you could say. So we got to the hospital. Get in the hospital gown, doctor comes in, they do all these tests and check for me, and they say, you're definitely concussed, and we checked for a brain bleed, an aneurysm, but you don't have it, so you should be fine. And they were going to do a CAT scan, and that's how they like see for sure that you don't have an aneurysm, because what they do otherwise is they look in your ears for blood, because your ear cavity is somewhat connected to your brain, so they could see the blood if you had an aneurysm. But so they checked my ears, I was okay, and he's like, well, I don't really want to do a CAT scan with you, because that's a lot of radiation going into your brain. And so I was like, all right, I'm fine with that. And so we went off knowing I was concussed, and I got like a packet on what to do and a doctor's note. And so for the next couple of days, I kind of took it real easy, like no bright lights, kind of wore sunglasses, just kind of keeping my head out of it. And so the next week of school was very tough. I got to my classes and I tried to pay attention and take notes, but I just could not focus. I feel like one of the aspects of the concussion, one of the repercussions was that I just could not focus and I could not pay attention. And that was really hard. I had 3 midterms the week after my concussion. So I talked to my professors and they were super nice and understanding, and they let me push them back a few days or to let me like kind of get in a good state of mind. And the doctor's note definitely did come in handy. And so also, I noticed my social life was a little bit weird. I went and did stuff with my friends, but like I was so out of it, and I'd just like say random things like, we'd be talking, I'd just be like, Lamar Jackson's a great quarterback. Or we'd pass by a sign, I'm like, I want to be an advertiser someday. And I just say all these like random comments. Like they were kind of dumb, but like not super dumb. But like they just were like, Mason, you're so out of it. And I'm like, yeah, I think so. Like the way I'd liken it is like wisdom teeth drugs, but like a less version of that. So not like super crazy, but like you can kind of think, but like you're not in a total state of mind that's like there, if that makes any sense. But it wasn't really fun. And so now I've been about 2 weeks since the concussion, and I'm doing a lot better. I can focus again, and I am able to like I'm in my right state of mind. I don't feel woozy. I've healed up nicely. The only thing is I can't do sports for a month because any concussions like pretty soon after another concussion can be very damaging and very dangerous. And so this last little while, I haven't been able to do sports, but I mean, I was able to coach my basketball intramural team, so that was fun. But other than that, I mean, that's my concussion story. So thanks for listening and tuning in.